Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. And this proves that, some people are watching our videos. They're learning because the Christian church ain't taught our people nothing. Or, the people in the world in general, they don't know nothing besides the Christian punchlines like John 3:16. So I'm going to get into this Edomite looking woman. And she's going to pretty much cook, but she, you can tell she's been watching um, the brothers, because there's no way that she can get this information from the Christian church. It just don't happen. And the way she's going through those precepts, it's like she's been taking notes, but I will give her some credit. She actually comprehended, you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree. She comprehend what we saying is the truth, that America is Babylon. Sometimes it's referred to as Mystery Babylon, Daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great, or just Babylon. And it goes by other names as well, prophetic names. But Babylon, a lot of you unlearned people and the Edomite scholars, they think in the old so-called Old Testament that when it refers to certain scriptures and certain chapters, they think it's talking about the ancient Babylon. No. Sometimes in the so-called Old Testament, it's referring to future Babylon, which would be America, and these prophecies would be compatible to the prophecies, and they'll go hand in hand with the prophecies in Revelation, and so on and so forth. So a lot of times, the men of the Lord was prophesying on America like David was prophesying. I'm going to get into that scripture. So let's get into this heavy video. All right. Salakia.
Some believe the United States isn't just a superpower. It's the mystery Babylon warned about in Revelation. But is that just a conspiracy or a prophecy unfolding? The Bible describes Babylon as a powerful, rich city ruling over the kings of the earth, a nation full of immorality, witchcraft, and blasphemy, a place that
So they got Christmas, which is idolatry. They got New Year's Eve, which is idolatry. Easter, which is idolatry. They control. I'm gonna get into some information that proves that Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, Babylon, Daughter of Babylon, is talking about America. This is that last kingdom of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, will be in rulership before the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Israel, is set up. Let's keep going. And also LGBT is pushed here. They actually got it legalized. So this is that place. It's not talking about the Vatican. Keep going.
Sits on many waters, symbolizing influence over many nations. Now consider America. It exports culture, entertainment, and military across the globe. It leads in wealth, power, and
so feminism, debauchery, idolatry. You just keep going on the list. It's pushed through the whole world. These enchantments, it's pushed through the whole world, and all these other nations copy that behavior. When these countries got feminism in their country, it turns the women out and completely destroys their society. When you have Momoism in these different countries that they have spread with this Hollywood enchantment, where you go into the Hollywood tree, there was a tree that they used to cast spells on people. So you people don't, a lot of people don't know about this information, and that's why you're here to learn. Let's keep going.
media, but also in moral decay. It's home to churches, yet full of spiritual confusion.
Nothing but confusion.
Come out of her, my people, so you will not share in her sins. I believe America is Babylon described in Revelation. In one of my last videos, I talked about how...
Check this out. So she can get it, but you can't. She could be a Jake. We don't know if she could just be a Edomite that have a bit of understanding. But she does have a lot of understanding more than a typical Jake that should know better and should be very aware that Babylon the Great in the Bible. That's why we tell you, your Christian pastor ain't taught you shit. Let's keep going.
How the principalities are essentially preparing for a world war after that military parade in China. And I want to connect that with something even bigger. The Bible's picture of Babylon in the last days. Revelation 17:1-2 says, Babylon sits on many waters and has corrupted the nations. Verse 18 calls her the great city that rules over the kings of the earth.
Yeah, so that woman was a metaphor. I'm going to get into that to represent America. Because it's America is under female vibration. That's why you got the Statue of Liberty as a woman. That feminism, that demonic women vibe, you know what I'm saying, with that woman empowerment demon.
That sounds like a global superpower, not a small city state. Revelation 18:3 says, the merchants of the earth grew rich from her luxury. Verses 11-13 says, endless imports, gold, silver, fine clothing, spices, even human trafficking. That's massive global trade. Then verse 10 says, in 1 hour her judgment comes, sudden destruction of unmatched wealth. Jeremiah 50:23 calls Babylon the hammer of the whole earth. That matches America's role as the world's military.
There you go. She's connecting the dots because she's been watching her brothers. She's been watching her brothers because there's no way that she picked this up from the Christian church. She's been watching one of our videos and she has some bit of understanding that this is the truth what we're saying. It's not flashy. It's not a brand new Corvette, right? It's just the truth. And a lot of jakes want that flashy, worldly stuff. The truth is very simplistic, you know, in a way. Let's keep going.
Enforcer. Jeremiah 51:7 says, she made the nations drunk with her influence. Exactly what American culture and politics and entertainment have done. Verse 13 describes her as rich in treasures and living by many waters, again pointing to a wealthy, water-boarded nation. Verse 53 says, even if Babylon ascends to the heavens, God will bring her down. America claims to have gone to the moon first, even though, you know, that's a whole nother story. But America still dominates the whole space program. Isaiah 47:7-8 describes Babylon saying, I am, and there is none besides me. I will never be a widow or suffer loss. That's pride. That's invulnerability.
Yeah, and that's in Obadiah. And that's why that devil, you know who I'm talking about. That's why he talks so lofty, you know what I'm saying? That's how the Edomites are. You know, they think they're gonna, you know, never be brought down. And it is. The kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes. Look at the state of the economy. We're in a depression, but they won't say it. Finish this up.
That's America's mind. And Habakkuk 1:7 says, this nation is feared and dreaded, a law to themselves. That's the picture of a superpower that makes the rules for the rest of the world. Now, some people say Babylon has to be Rome because Revelation 17:9 says the woman sits on 7 hills. And yes, Rome was historically called the city on 7 hills, but here's the thing. In prophecy, mountains and hills often represent kingdoms or seats of power. So the 7 hills could symbolize a coalition of world powers or the 7 continents, pointing to a global reach rather than a single city. And if you look at the context, Revelation isn't describing a small religious city. It's describing the economic superpower of the world.
Which is hands down America, the economic military superpower of the world. And the Bible is written in a code, right? It's not going to say America in there. So let's go here first. So she was cooking. She was off on a few things here and there, but overall, you know, and some of these, you know, so-called scholars will say that Babylon is talking about Vatican City. And we've heard some other crazy stuff. No, if you do your study, you go into the precepts, you have a little bit of understanding, you better make that connection like she did because she's been watching us. And she actually used her brain to formulate all this stuff that we are saying is true. I'm going to show you. Psalms 137:8. The Bible ain't just a book that you know, Jacob use it as a prop. They'll put it in a car in the middle of the dashboard and never read it. Psalms 137:8. O daughter of Babylon. So this not talking about the ancient Babylon. King David, you know, was prophesying. through the Psalms of David. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be um, I don't get into all that, but it says, "Oh, daughter of Babylon," right? So if it was the ancient Babylon, if she had a daughter, it would be after her. If a mother have a child that's a daughter, she have a female that's a daughter comes after her. So it's talking about America. It says, "Who ought to be destroyed," proving that it's talking about Babylon the Great. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Let's go to the next verse. It says, let me go to 7. I missed that. This is the point. Psalm 37 and 7. One verse up, it says, "Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof." Then you go to 8. "O daughter of Babylon," making that connection with Edom and Babylon. That Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is who rules over the whole world and will be the ruler of Babylon. Let's go here. And I'm going to get into some more information. Revelation 17, let me get straight to the point. In 5, you can read the whole chapter going into this whore. Right here, 17, Revelation 17 and 5. It's talking about this woman, right, which represents America, Babylon. It says, "Upon her forehead was a name written." This woman, right, "Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth." So this woman, you can read up, represents America. Let's keep going. So let's prove this. Give me 1 second. And Revelation 17 is a heavy chapter. Revelation 17 and 18. "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city." So that woman is a representation of Babylon, America, "who reigneth over the kings of the earth." Remember, this is ancient terminology. The modern day kings will be your presidents, prime ministers, heads of state, etc. Reign over the kings of the earth. Who reigns over the whole world with the economic, the military? Let me show you, which is America. It says the number one import. I'm gonna get into that too. Matter of fact, let me just tap in. It says the number one import country in the world. Remember, all these merchants send all their merchandise to America. The United States is consistently the number one importing country in the world by value, bringing in trillions of goods like machinery, vehicles, and fuels, followed by China and Germany. So America, these other countries make their goods so they can send them to America. Going back into that, talking about Babylon, that the merchants will be wailing because it's going to be destroyed because they can't sell their goods no more. This is the number one consuming country. It says America has the world reserve currency. It says a reserve currency is held by central banks to facilitate international transactions and minimize exchange rate risk. The United States dollar became the world's primary reserve currency after 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement. So they control the economics, the so-called money. Who has the number one military? It says right here, the United States has the number one military in the world due to its high defense spending. Advanced technology and all these other countries are catching up, right? So go back to Revelation 17:18. "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." So I'm showing you tangible proof how they're able to do this. They control world trade because the world trade has to be settled in the United States dollars, right? But that's why you got something called the BRICS. They fist to chop all this up. America has the number one military in the world. This is a known coming fact. For 40, 50 years, people wouldn't know that off the top of their head. And they control, you got something called the Wall Street, right? That controls economics, the world economies, and so on and so forth. They could put sanctions on you, right? Because if you don't do what they want you to do, because most countries trade in the United States dollars. It's just crazy. I mean, this is that city which will represents America that controls the whole earth, which represents Babylon. That's how you can know what Babylon is today and how it plays into major prophecy in the end times that we're in. Right? Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak, Kodash. Shalom.